Hey, it's Katie, and in this video, I want to share with you my experience on the Silos Baking Competition. I was surrounded by 5 amazing home bakers and had the privilege of being judged by some unbelievable people. I'm going to share with you the whole story from my application to my acceptance to competition day. So let's go. First of all, people always ask, how did you get onto it? Well, I applied online, and it was just a very long application. I spent many days working on it, and one of the things they asked for was a recipe. And I have cupcake recipes, obviously. I do a lot of cupcakes, but they had to be shelf stable. So I worked at developing a recipe. So played around with different ideas, and then I finally landed on one I liked. I knew I needed a story behind it, so I used peaches because my granddad I grew up in the summer. My granddad would buy lugs of peaches, and then he would wrap each of them in paper towels, and then he would can them and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, during the summer, he would cut up fresh peaches, and so I wanted to base it around that. Anyway, so I worked after school every night, coming up with an idea, tweaking it, and I felt like I had a good idea, and then I had to photograph it, and God totally brought that all together because I am not a food photographer, but I was trying to get a good picture of it. So anyway, so that's that. So I sent in that application, and they give you a time frame they get back to you within or whatever. And I can't remember if they did get back to me within that time frame, but anyway, whether or not they did, I was this is not happening. I was okay, Katie, just accept it. It's not going to happen, and that's okay. And I was totally good with it. But then I got an email, and they wanted, I'd made it to the next round. And so then I think I had to send a video, and they just have you answer questions or whatever. And then kind of the same thing. I was I thought they'd get back to me already. I must not have made it, whatever. It is what it is. And then they got back to me, and then I moved on to the next round, and I think they wanted another recipe just so no one had an over, if they chose 6 people and they all had a strawberry recipe, it wouldn't make very good TV. But anyway, so I developed another recipe, and that was crazy. I wanted, I was kind of a ways into the game, and I was I really want this to be good, and I came up with a brown butter s'mores bar, which totally took my whole weekend. I was planning to see my family. And so at that point, I was kind of I better make it onto this. I just totally sacrificed a weekend of fun, which whatever. Anyway, so then made it forward, and there was a few other things, and then had a few meetings and stuff. And then it was 2 weeks before the competition, because they had told us the date of it, and still didn't know if I was in or out. And so they're let's Zoom and we'll see your personality one more time. I had to be on the meeting at 7 a.m., but I wouldn't have time to be home and then drive to work afterwards. So then I drove to work, and I was at my desk and logged onto the Zoom call, and they're oh, you look how you look, because that was the first time I think I met with the casting guy. Anyway, and they're go to the chat, click on this link, and I didn't really know what it was. It's kind of I just got into the meeting, and so I think if I would have thought about it, I would have thought oh, this is suspicious, but didn't have any time for that, and opened it, and then Joanna Gaines popped up.
Hey Katie, it's Joanna here in Waco, Texas, and I'm so excited to let you know that you have been selected to be on the Silos Baking Competition. I cannot wait to meet you in a couple weeks and try your cupcake. See you soon.
And I am a textbook underreactor. If something great happens, I really I don't give the freaking out. Yeah, I have to fake it if that's gonna happen. Which I think, I don't know. I think they showed my reaction in the episode, and it was medium. I'm not a deadpan, but it's not TV gold or anything. So anyway, that's that. And so from there on out, I was very, very freaking out. Oh my goodness, I wanted to be on this so bad, and now I am, and I'm so nervous. So that was kind of the process to get on. Okay, so now it was the time leading up to the competition. It was just 2 weeks, 2 very quick / long weeks. I became very nervous during this time, but also very excited. And yeah, I was ordering clothes and all this different stuff, and I would get calls from the producer, and I would be asked questions, and Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And then the 2 weeks again passed like super quickly, and it was time to fly out. So I taught a full day of school, went home and packed, and went to bed. Part of this pre-phase, again, like it was a very short turnaround time. So they mailed us these filming kits, and in them were like 2 iPhones, like the newest iPhones, and like audio equipment and that kind of stuff. And so I was supposed to film B-roll of my life, and that's like in the episode you can see all of that. I mean, it's like it's obviously a blip in an hour episode, but it was really fun to see it. So so I filmed a ton of stuff in Rapid, stuff at school, stuff on the ranch, like all sorts of stuff. And so yeah, I was kind of like busting my butt to get this stuff because I was just like, I wanted it to be all right. And like they did ask for a lot of different clips. And so yeah, that was also like, oh my goodness, I have to get this all done. Okay, so the next morning, I flew out and arrived in Waco, and it was all very like dreamy. It was so funny because the guy that like picked us up, he worked for Magnolia, and he was like going into his earpiece, and he's like, they picked us, I got picked up with 2 other contestants. So there were 3 of us contestants in the vehicle, and the guy goes in his earpiece and says something about like, I've got talent, I'm bringing them to the hotel. And so like I just like looked, and Annie was sitting there, and we were both like, oh my goodness, that's kind of crazy. And yeah, it was just so funny. Like the day before I had been called begrudgingly Miss Wilken, and now I'm being called talent, like super hilarious. And so yeah, prepping, I was there for like 2 days ahead of time, so we would go down and look at the set, met my producer, all these different things. And that was kind of like the chill vacation-y part, although like you're like kind of stressed out because you know something big is coming. And my mom and my dad and my sister Ann all flew in, and yeah, it was definitely building up, and I was getting more nervous, but I also had a few problems along the way. Last night I put self-tanner on. Sorry, it's like really glaring. Okay. I put self-tanner on, and it was like a new kind. Anyway, I didn't wear a mitt, and like it doesn't look that bad, but it does in person. And this is after like scrubbing with a toothbrush for a very long time. Like actually the rest of me, not so bad, but my hands are like horrible, like in between my fingers. Like in some eyes from a distance it kind of looks like a shadow, and it's okay, but up close it's very orange. So I have a Walmart delivery order for what is that called, acetone. I'm gonna try that, and then I'm just gonna keep going. I bought some more toothbrushes because I just used mine on my fingers. So yeah, I'm gonna keep scrubbing away, and the competition's in 2 days. I kind of think it's gonna, Lord willing, it will fade pretty well. It really has actually. I've worked on it quite a bit today, and my fingers were hurting because I had worked on it so much. But Lord willing, it'll look a lot better. So anyway, that's just a behind the scenes look of everything that's going on. But anyway, editing Katie here, and it didn't get any better. The producer bought me like foundation to put over the self-tanner on my hands, and like that was like basically like a corpse. Like that's what my hands reminded me of. Like if you look in a casket, I know this is really what you wanted to hear. If you look in a casket, you look at their hands, like that's exactly what my hands looked like. Even though I was having a few issues, in general, everything was good. Okay, so super fun. I just got a delivery, and it's like a swag bag and treats and everything really cool. Okay, one more thing. Joanna Gaines, she wrote me a note. That's pretty great. And then it was the night before the competition, and I am a great sleeper. I can sleep anywhere pretty much, and I sleep really well almost every single night of my life. Except that night. I literally, like, I've never had a sleep like that where I was like, I don't even know if I fell asleep. Like, never in my life. But I was super nervous. I was just reading my Bible, like nonstop praying, and yeah, God definitely helped me through it, but I was stressed. Next morning came and drank lots of coffee, loaded into the van with the other contestants, and we went to the set. And it was actually kind of chilly that morning. I know, like, I was coming from South Dakota in the winter, but I really think it was my nerves more than anything. And so I was just like shaking, like I was so cold / nervous. And so we started filming. Strapped these microphones to us, and like we were assigned a sound guy. And yeah, like this is all very foreign to me. Like I've literally been teaching, Algebra 1 a couple days ago. So it was totally foreign to me. And we had to like walk onto the set, like I think like 13 different times we had to refilm it. And this was like the most painful part for me. It was kind of like, so we had to like walk and laugh and talk. And I was so nervous, and it was like in the morning. I won't say early in the morning because I think it was like 8 o'clock. I don't want to exaggerate. So anyway, I mean, I really didn't know these people like that well. And I realized I used to tell myself this thing when I would go new places. Like, it's mostly a joke when I say this, but like, don't be yourself. That's what I used to say. And yeah, it's mostly a joke when I say that. But also, like, if I was myself completely, I would be super shy. Like, when I'm in a new situation, like, that's definitely like what would be super comfortable to do. And so, yeah, that was like, I guess I should have turned on my acting skills a little bit better there. But yeah, then my producer, she's like, Katie, I think you're the only one that hasn't said anything. Because everyone would say like, it's such a beautiful day. Like, I'm super pumped, like all this stuff. And like, I was like, this sounds so cheesy. But like, it's what they wanted us to do. And they didn't end up using that part. So that makes me really happy because I would have looked like a really big dummy during that part. But anyway, I'm sure there's footage of it somewhere. And yeah, we got on the set, and then we were there for a while. I don't know, they were working on stuff, and then, I don't know, time passed, and I got a cup of coffee, and then the competition started, and like, the minute the competition started, like, I don't know, God just brought peace over me, like, completely. Like, I had been so nervous, and then all of a sudden, I was, like, so peaceful, and I felt so confident in, like, what I was doing, and I just, got to work, and, I mean, we had 3 hours, and I could make my cupcake, and I had timed myself to make it in 1 hour. So I was feeling pretty like relaxed about the food part of things. I think if I could change anything about the competition, I would have just enjoyed it more. Like, it was fun, don't get me wrong. And like, if I ever get another opportunity, everyone asks me, would you ever do it again? Like, 110 million %, like, yes. But I felt like Annie did a great job of just like enjoying it, walking around, talking to people, and like, I like should have just chilled out a little bit more. Like, I was just like, I gotta keep going. And like, there was plenty of time for me to get my bakes done, and I ended up doing like 2 bakes of cupcakes. I did all these double batches just because I had the time to do it. So anyway, like, I wish I would have just like chilled and enjoyed the moment a little bit more. Although like, yeah, I was like very weirdly relaxed. Like, I did enjoy it, but I wish I would have just basked in it a little bit more. Yeah, like, it was crazy. Like, Joanna Gaines and Zoe and Andrew were just like walking around and talking to us, and there were cameras, like, literally, like, I would walk to the microwave to defrost my peaches, and this guy like chases after me. Like, yeah, definitely not my normal scope of things. And so like, it was totally cool. Like, yeah, just like kind of like a dream almost. Then, we had finished our bakes, and we had to go present them to the judges. And yeah, like, it all went really, I felt like they really enjoyed it, which I was excited about. But honestly, I really wasn't thinking too much about the competition because I had literally just been trying to like make it through. I wasn't really trying to be like a contender. And anyway, then they sent us up to the green room, and we had food. And like, at this point, I was just like, I had gotten like really hot at this point, which I forgot to mention, it was like heating up like crazy. And so yeah, we were up there for quite a while. I think, they did the deliberating on camera and off camera, and then the camera crew obviously needed a break. And so that is like not one job I'm interested in. That looks like a lot of work. Not that I don't like to work hard, but like, yeah, anyway, props to those people. Really, the only thing I was thinking, I told you guys earlier, like, I'm a textbook underreactor. I like I was trying to like tell myself, like, if you win this, like, you have to react. Like, just like do something you wouldn't normally do. Like, literally, like, that's like the last kind of ditch thing I did in my mind, like, before I went back down. I was like, if you win, like, act really excited. And you guys, I would have been really excited if I would have won, and yeah, I was irregardless. But like, that's the problem being an underreactor, is like, people don't know you're excited, like, even though you are. Like, yeah. So anyway, that was actually a thought I had in my head. And then we came back down, and like, it went pretty fast from there on out. They declared the winner. Annie won, which Annie is a peach. Like, she's great. And so, yeah, I was her bar looked really good. And in fact, you guys, that's going to be a video on my channel coming within a week. So if you're watching this later, you just go look for it right now. And if you're watching this on the day it was posted, then very shortly, I'm going to be trying it, and I'm super pumped. But anyway, she won, and you guys, I started crying, not because I was sad, but because I was so tired, and I got to see my family and give them a hug. And like, that'll definitely bring on the tears for me. I'm not a hard nut to crack in that way. Anyway, so it was over. I flew back to South Dakota, and it was kind of like a dream because we weren't really supposed to tell a lot of people about it. Obviously not on social media or anything, but like, we weren't supposed to tell, like, we didn't have to keep it like a huge secret from our family, but it was definitely not supposed to be common knowledge, especially like the particular show that we were on or any specifics about it. So when I got back though, some of my coworkers knew about it. In fact, one of my coworkers literally printed these stickers, like, I think like 100 of them or something, of me on them, like, it's like a picture of me with a cake. But anyway, she printed these up, and while I was in Waco, my coworkers sent me this picture. They all had them on. I would show it to you guys, but I don't know if they want me to. So anyway, super funny. And then I get back, and the stickers are like all over my classroom. And then she passes them out. And so there's students walking around with stickers of me. Like, there's teachers that have them on their water bottles. Like, yeah, students have them on their water bottles, which I was kind of like, can you guys, like, take them off? And I had a student say, like, oh, sure, I'll just put it in my locker. No, like, don't do that. So it was really sweet. It maybe went south a little bit, but hilarious. Okay, so time passed. School wrapped for the year. Wrapped, like I'm some sort of film person. School finished, and yeah, I had a lot going on at the time. My sister was getting married, all that good stuff. And then it was time for the episode to come out, and it felt like it kind of sneaked up on me. But anyway, I knew that it was coming out the morning of the launch day, like, it'd be available on like Discovery Plus. So I woke up, it was a Sunday, first thing that morning, and like, I was staying at my granddad's house, and so nobody was over there. And I got up and I watched it, and I had been really nervous because I was like, what if they edit me like a certain way, and like I come across like really shy and awkward and like whatever. And like, yeah, that didn't happen at all. It was actually really fun to watch, at least by myself. So I've debated about putting this in the video, but if you're watching it, I guess it made it in it. So I told you guys that the recipe was inspired by my granddad. Well, shortly after I made my application, my granddad actually passed away. And so watching the episode's a little bit bittersweet just because like the clips of me in his house, like that was very shortly after he passed away. I filmed that B-roll just because that's where I grew up baking. So that's kind of why it was part of the episode. And then there's a picture of me and my granddad in there. So yeah, definitely special, but a little bittersweet. So later that day, we had a watch party, and we had tons of people over, and it was super fun. Like, these people are, like, so special, like, friends, neighbors, all that kind of stuff. And, like, they were really, like, excited for me, which is really sweet. Because it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know if it's all of their thing, but, like, they were into it for me. And then watching it with them, like, projecting it on a big screen and, like, having all these people watch it, I was kind of like, I literally said, you guys, like, if you want to, like, talk, like, that's totally fine. Because, like, my dad, he's, like, such a rancher. And he came to the filming of the show. And, like, he had really wanted to tour a ranch down there. This is going to make my dad sound like a bad dad, but he's not at all. He's, like, the best. And he was like, I think I'm going to go do that during the competition, which is like 3 hours long. And my sister was like, no, like, you can't go, like, you have to stay. And like, I would have been totally fine with that, although it was kind of nice that he stayed. And Anyway, so I told them, like, you guys feel free to talk. Like, my dad didn't even want to stay. And again, my dad's great. So, like, nothing there. He had, just wanted to tour a ranch he really wanted to see for a long time. So, anyway, you can take the rancher out of the ranch, but you can't take the ranch out of the rancher. Yeah. So the watch party was super fun. Had made lots of cupcakes. Had made the competition cupcake. Okay, I'm gonna take a bite. You guys, this is a double feature. There's a video of me making this cupcake today, so you're gonna have to check it out. Anyway, everyone has been super lovely. I've had many students, parents, coworkers, neighbors, friends, strangers, people talk to me about this competition. It's been super fun, and it was a joy to be on. Asks me, not everybody, but a lot of people ask me, what were Chip and Joanna like? Were they like what they seem like on TV? And I would say, yeah, they are. I mean, at the end of the day, like, when you meet them, they're people. They're real people. And yeah, they seemed very genuine, and Joanna was just, thanked me for being a teacher, was very kind to me, and everything I expected it to be. Thanks for listening to my story. If you check out this video right here, you'll learn how to actually make my competition cupcake. Bye!